If you follow the work of realistic artists on social media, you've probably seen different types of erasers being used and might be wondering, do I really need all these erasers to create good drawings? In this video, I'm going to answer that and other related questions. And let me tell you right away, you're probably using one of the erasers that isn't great for realistic drawing. I'll go over the different types of erasers, what they're used for, and their pros and cons. It's important to understand that in realistic drawing, an eraser isn't just a tool to fix mistakes. It's also an essential drawing tool, whether you're working in black and white or color. With that in mind, let's get started. The first type I want to talk about is one of the most common erasers out there, the plastic eraser. You probably have one of these. They are widely used in schools and are mainly meant for erasing writing mistakes. Many people also use this eraser when drawing, but that's not a great idea, especially if it's a rectangular block. It's bulky and imprecise, and since it wears down unevenly as you use it, it becomes even harder to erase small details cleanly. I do own a plastic eraser that I occasionally use, but mine is in a pen format. At least in this case, I can use a craft knife to shape the tip for slightly better precision. Still, I don't use it for actual drawing, only for erasing lines that go outside the edges of my drawings. If you're still using this type of eraser for drawing, I suggest you reconsider and take a look at the other options coming up next. This soft, putty-like eraser is called a kneaded eraser. It's flexible, which makes it quite versatile. It erases charcoal and graphite easily, especially charcoal, but it's practically useless for colored pencils. It's a gentle eraser that doesn't remove everything in one go. That's actually a good thing because it allows you to gradually lighten areas, which is particularly useful when working with graphite. I use this eraser for two main purposes: to erase or lighten sketch lines and to adjust tonal values by softly lifting graphite or charcoal from the paper. One major advantage is that it doesn't leave behind eraser shavings, so it cleans up your drawing without making a mess. On the downside, it's not very precise, and because it's so soft, it can't completely remove graphite or charcoal. This also makes it difficult to create really strong highlights. For that, you need a firmer, more precise eraser. It's a great tool to have though, especially if you work mostly in black and white. However, if your main technique involves colored pencils or pastels, this eraser will only be useful for erasing or lightening your initial graphite sketch lines. If you want a fine, firm, and affordable eraser, an eraser pencil is a fantastic choice. It can be super efficient with graphite, charcoal, and colored pencils. In fact, for colored pencils, I'd say this eraser is essential because its firmness allows it to effectively lift layers of pigment. This means you can not only create highlights, but also control the tonal values of an area with precision. With this eraser, you can work on small details, and depending on how much pressure you apply, you can remove a good amount of material from the paper if needed. I use it a lot for textures, especially skin texture. It works great for tapping lightly on the surface, gradually softening the texture. The downside is that this eraser leaves behind shavings. It's best to have a soft brush on hand to clean up the mess it makes. A similar but even more delicate tool is the Tombow Mono Zero eraser pen. This is one case where I mention the brand because this specific eraser is unique in the market. With an eraser pencil, you can still erase larger areas, but the Mono Zero is designed for tiny details. It's a very fine plastic eraser with a tip that can be shaped with a craft knife for extra precision. It's incredibly useful for realistic drawings done with graphite or charcoal. Thanks to its precision, it's great for working on textures like skin, for creating the effect of shiny hair strands, or light colored animal fur. For graphite and charcoal, I'd say this tool is a must-have. However, since it's not very firm, it doesn't remove colored pencil as well, making it less effective for that medium. Since it's a plastic eraser, it does create shavings, but less so than an eraser pencil. The downside is that it's a bit more expensive and not easy to find in regular art stores, even though you can easily get it online. By the way, all the erasers mentioned in this video are listed in the description. If you purchase them through my links, you'll be supporting the channel at no extra cost to you. Speaking of harder to find tools, the least common eraser on this list is the electric eraser. This eraser is useful for creating details rather than fixing mistakes, and it can be used with graphite, charcoal, and colored pencils. Unlike the others, this one requires a bit more practice to master control. It's great for making small, bright highlights, since it removes a lot of material from the paper. Its tip can be shaped with sandpaper, allowing for even more precision as it wears down. This isn't an easy tool to find, and of course it's more expensive than a regular eraser. Another downside is that it requires batteries or charging. That said, in my opinion, it's definitely worth the investment. To sum up, I'm not going to say you need all of these erasers to create great drawings. However, aside from the standard plastic eraser mentioned in the beginning, all of these tools can significantly help improve your artwork. The needed eraser and the eraser pencil are very affordable, so there is really no reason not to try them out. The Tombow Mono Zero and the electric eraser, while not as cheap, are also worth the investment. Now tell me, which of these erasers do you already own? And which ones do you still need? Are you planning to add any of them to your toolkit now? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.